There is a warning here, and it is calm but firm. If you return to old patterns after receiving this clarity, the discomfort will increase. Not as punishment, but as correction. Once truth is revealed, ignorance is no longer an option. You cannot unsee alignment. The pattern that began around San 1998, cycles of delay, repeated lessons, unfinished breakthroughs, is being addressed at the root. Roots do not scream when they are pulled up. They release slowly. You may notice memories resurfacing, dreams intensifying, thoughts becoming sharper. This is exposure before removal. Michael assures you of protection during this phase. Exposure does not mean vulnerability. It means visibility. What is visible can be corrected. What remains hidden controls from the shadows. Shadows are losing territory now. Your next steps will require decisiveness, not haste. Do not rush. Do not freeze. Move when clarity arrives. Clarity will feel calm, not emotional. If something feels frantic, wait. If it feels steady, proceed. You are being retrained internally. Your instincts are being recalibrated. Old instincts were shaped by fear and lack. New instincts are shaped by alignment and foresight. Trust the shift. Even if it feels unfamiliar, it is accurate. Michael says you are entering a phase where excuses will no longer satisfy you. You will hear your own words differently. Anything misaligned will sound hollow when spoken. That is integrity awakening. Some connections will weaken. Some conversations will end abruptly. Do not chase closure. Order does not explain itself. Order establishes itself. As part 2 settles, understand this: you are not being threatened. You are being activated. Activation feels intense because dormant strength is waking up. Strength does not ask permission to exist. It simply stands. You are still here because something in you refused to turn away. Archangel Michael says that refusal matters more than you realize. Most people feel the call and distract themselves until it fades. You stayed. That alone confirms this message was not random. Darkness does not fear noise. It fears awareness. And awareness is awakening in you right now. Michael says the moment you chose to listen, a line was crossed. Not backward, forward. You stepped out of passive existence and into accountable movement. Accountability is not punishment. It is positioning. Positioning determines what you are trusted with next. There has been a weight on your decisions for a long time. Even small choices felt heavy. That was not anxiety. That was pressure from unrealized authority. Authority unexpressed always feels like tension. That tension was building, waiting for direction. Now direction has been issued. Listen carefully. Michael reveals that there were moments you almost gave up, not loudly, but internally. You didn't quit life, but you quit expectation. You lowered hope to protect yourself from disappointment. That survival tactic kept you functioning, but it also delayed fulfillment. Survival kept you alive. Alignment will move you forward. This is where the tone deepens. Michael says some of the resistance you faced did not come from enemies, but from environments that benefited from your hesitation. When you stayed uncertain, others stayed comfortable. When you doubted yourself, others stayed in control. That arrangement ends now. You may feel an internal shaking as you hear this. That is not fear. That is reordering. Old agreements are being dissolved, agreements you never signed consciously, but accepted through silence. Silence is no longer your language. Precision is, Michael speaks with authority now. He says stop explaining yourself to people who never asked for your growth. Stop shrinking your vision to make others feel safe. You were not called to be manageable. We order you to open this right now. Don't try to ignore this. This is not curiosity. This is not coincidence. This is not for everyone. It's only for those who were meant to hear it at this exact moment. Archangel Michael says if you felt resistance before pressing play, that resistance was not coming from you. It was coming from what knows it is about to lose its grip. Listen carefully. This message does not repeat itself. There is a reason silence followed you before this moment. A reason delays surrounded your progress. A reason pressure increased without explanation. You were being watched, not by people, but by forces measuring whether you would break or become disciplined. Michael says most people confuse pressure with punishment. Pressure is proof of proximity. You do not apply pressure to something insignificant. You apply it to what carries weight. Right now, something ancient is being confronted. Something that fed on your hesitation. Something that survived because you kept questioning your worth instead of your assignment. Archangel Michael steps forward not gently, but firmly. His presence does not comfort weakness. It stabilizes authority. When Michael appears, confusion ends. Not because answers are explained, but because lies lose their voice. He says this clearly: stop pretending you don't feel the shift. Stop minimizing the signs. Stop delaying obedience. You were warned through restlessness. You were instructed through discomfort. You were redirected through endings you did not choose. Every door that closed did so for alignment, not rejection. What you call loss was separation from what could not follow you further. This is where the message turns serious. Michael says some of you have been standing at the edge of movement, waiting for permission. Permission was already granted. The delay was internal. Fear disguised itself as logic. Overthinking disguised itself as wisdom. But wisdom moves when clarity is present. And clarity is present now. You did not arrive at this point by accident. Archangel Michael says accidents do not carry this kind of weight. What you are feeling now is consequence, not consequence of failure, but consequence of endurance. Endurance always activates consequence. And consequence reshapes reality. There was a time when you believed strength meant pushing harder, speaking louder, proving more. That belief was trained into you by environments that did not understand authority. Authority does not prove itself. It reveals itself through restraint. Michael says restraint is the language of power that has nothing left to fear. Listen closely now. The reason this message feels intense is because it is addressing what you avoided confronting directly. Avoidance does not remove responsibility, it delays it. Learn too much to forget this lesson now. another subtle shift will occur. You will begin to sense when to act and when to wait without needing explanation. Waiting will no longer feel like delay. It will feel like positioning. Action will no longer feel rushed. It will feel timely. This balance is rare. It is the mark of seasoned authority. Michael says seasoned authority does not react to opportunity, it responds to assignment. Opportunities come often. Assignments come selectively. Learn to tell the difference. Your peace will confirm it. Peace is now your signal, not excitement, not fear. Excitement fades. Fear lies. Peace remains steady. Trust what remains steady. There will be moments when others question your pace. Some will say you are moving too slowly. Some will say you are being cautious. Do not explain. Pace is personal when purpose is specific. You are not running a race with others. You are walking an assignment that requires accuracy. Accuracy matters more than speed. Michael says heaven is not impressed by haste. Heaven is honored by precision. Precision protects outcome. Outcome is what heaven cares about. As this part deepens, you may notice a desire to give back, not out of obligation, but out of overflow. This is healthy. Overflow means something stable has been established. Give wisely. Give without depleting yourself. Give without rescuing others from lessons they need to learn. Support growth, not dependency. Authority that enables weakness eventually collapses under its weight. Authority that empowers growth multiplies. Michael instructs you to empower, not absorb. There is a difference. Empowerment lifts. Absorption drains. You are no longer meant to absorb chaos. You are meant to model order. That alone will change environments around you. Order carries authority without speaking. As Part 11 moves toward its closing, Michael releases this understanding. You are not being prepared for a single moment. You are being prepared for longevity. Low. Meaningful contribution. Contribution feels less intense than survival, but it lasts longer. Survival keeps you alive. Contribution gives your life weight. Michael says weight is what heaven values. Weight is the ability to carry responsibility without collapse. You are learning to carry weight now. Some days will feel ordinary, repetitive, predictable. Do not despise these days. Ordinary days are where endurance is built. Endurance does not come from moments of intensity, it comes from consistency in the unremarkable. Destiny is shaped more by what you repeat than by what you survive. Michael emphasizes this deeply. What you choose to do daily will either protect what has been given or slowly weaken it. Protect your mornings. Protect your habits. Protect your inner posture. These are not small things. They are foundations. Another truth is revealed here. You will no longer feel the need to convince others of who you are. Identity no longer needs witnesses when it is settled internally. If misunderstood, you will feel less urgency to correct. If overlooked, less need to prove. This is not apathy. This is security. Security does not depend on recognition. Recognition often arrives later, quietly, when it matters. Michael says heaven often hides people in plain sight until character is fully stable. Visibility too early damages integrity. Integrity preserved now will sustain influence later. Trust the timing of obscurity. Obscurity is not delay, it is protection. As Part 11 continues, Michael issues a warning that sounds gentle but carries authority. Do not confuse freedom with lack of structure. Freedom without structure decays into chaos. Structure without freedom becomes oppression. Heaven designs balance. Maintain structure in your life that supports alignment, disciplines, boundaries, rhythms that keep you centered. These are not restrictions. They are reinforcements. Reinforcements hold what freedom releases. Many lose what they prayed for because they remove the. This phase is quieter than all the others, and that is precisely why it matters most. Archangel Michael says very few understand this stage because it does not announce itself with conflict or victory. It arrives with responsibility. You are now living in the results of alignment, and results demand maintenance. Authority, once activated, does not require constant reinforcement, but it does require consistent awareness. Awareness is the discipline of maturity. You are no longer guarded by intensity, you are guided by wisdom. Wisdom does not rush you, but it does not allow drift. Drift is the silent enemy of those who have already won. Michael speaks clearly here. What destroys many is not darkness returning, but purpose being neglected. When purpose is neglected, meaning weakens. When meaning weakens, distraction grows. And distraction, if allowed, slowly erodes what was built with effort. This is why heaven speaks again now, not because something is wrong, but because something valuable is present. Valuable things require stewardship. You are not being watched with suspicion. You are being trusted with oversight. Heaven trusts you to notice when alignment shifts even slightly and to correct course without drama. Correction does not require shame. It requires honesty. You will now notice that your internal compass reacts faster than before. Small compromises will feel heavier than they used to. Minor misalignments will feel noticeable. This is not hypersensitivity. This is calibration. Your spirit has been tuned to clarity. When tuning is accurate, even small distortions stand out. Do not ignore them. Small corrections prevent large consequences. Michael says maturity is revealed not by how you handle crises, but by how quickly you correct course when something feels off. This is leadership over self. Leadership over self always precedes leadership over anything else. As this season unfolds, you may feel moments of doubt, not about God, not about protection, but about. Shortcuts produce short lives of influence. You were not built for short impact. You were built for sustained purpose. And finally, this truth is sealed in this part. You no longer need to ask if you are aligned. Misalignment would feel immediately wrong now. That sensitivity is not weakness. It is strength refined. Protect it. Do not numb it. Do not override it. It is one of your greatest safeguards. Archangel Michael confirms that the protection remains active, the authority Michael reminds you that being misunderstood is not a sign you are wrong. Often it is proof you are early. Early always feels lonely. Loneliness at this level is temporary. Purpose attracts its own company. Your inner dialogue is changing. Old language no longer fits. Self-negotiation is being replaced by self-instruction. Instruction is clearer, shorter, more decisive. This is leadership forming internally. Pay attention to your reactions when challenged. Reactivity signals unfinished work. Calm response signals integration. Integration is happening now. You are not suppressing emotion, you are governing it. Governance prevents regret. The cycles connected to SAN 1998 are dissolving at the decision level. Repetition ends when reaction changes. The external situation may look similar at first, but your response will be different. Different response creates different outcome. This is how patterns break without drama. Michael says something precise here. Do not wait for fear to disappear before acting. Fear loses authority when action begins. Action aligned with truth weakens fear faster than contemplation ever could. You will be tempted to explain your growth to people who are not meant to carry it. Do not. Explanations dilute clarity. Let consistency speak. Consistency teaches without words. As responsibility increases, rest becomes strategic. Exhaustion is not sacrifice, it is mismanagement. Protect your strength. Authority requires stamina. Pace yourself. Notice the difference between urgency and importance. Urgency shouts. Importance stays calm. Respond to importance. Ignore false urgency. False urgency is how distraction disguises itself as productivity. Michael confirms protection again, not to reassure fear, but to release hesitation. You are shielded enough to move forward without constant checking. Overchecking is another form of delay. As this continuation settles, accept this truth: you are not becoming someone else. You are shedding what never belonged. Archangel Michael says the mind tries to return to familiar ground when pressure increases. Familiar does not mean correct. Familiar only means practiced. You are being retrained now to choose what is accurate over what is comfortable. Accuracy is the language of authority. Comfort is the language of delay. There were moments when you sensed a decision forming, but you postponed it, telling yourself you needed more information. Michael exposes this gently but firmly. You had enough information. What you lacked was internal permission. That permission is being restored now. Once permission is restored, momentum follows naturally. This phase will test your consistency more than your courage. Courage was required to start listening. Consistency is required to continue walking. Many fail here because they expect emotional reinforcement. Emotion fades. Discipline remains. Discipline is not harsh, it is stabilizing. Stability creates outcomes that fear cannot interrupt. Michael says watch how quickly clarity arrives when you stop entertaining unnecessary input. Noise weakens discernment. Silence strengthens it. Reduce what enters your mind. Guard what enters your spirit. Authority leaks through distraction. You will notice that your tolerance for disorder has dropped. Chaos that once felt normal now feels intrusive. This is not impatience. This is alignment rejecting interference. Do not numb this sensitivity. Sensitivity guided by discipline becomes precision. There is also a shift happening in how you view time. You will stop rushing and stop procrastinating at the same time. Rushing wastes energy. Procrastination wastes opportunity. Precision moves when timing is correct. Michael says timing will become intuitive for you now. Trust it. The shadow of fear will attempt one more tactic: isolation through misunderstanding. You may feel that fewer people truly understand you. This is not loss. This is filtration. Alignment filters access. Access determines influence. Influence. You may notice your body responding as you listen: tightness, stillness, alertness. This is not anxiety. This is readiness. Soldiers recognize this feeling before command is given. You are being positioned, not panicked. Michael says something important here: the season of asking, "Why me?" is over. That question belonged to formation. The correct question now is, how precisely? Precision replaces confusion when authority matures. There are patterns breaking now that were reinforced since San 1998. Not because that date holds magic, but because it marks the beginning of repetition. Repetition was not punishment. It was training through exposure. Exposure teaches discernment faster than instruction. Think carefully. Each cycle refined you. Each delay sharpened your perception. Each disappointment removed illusions. What remains is not bitterness. What remains is clarity. Clarity is dangerous to systems built on confusion. That is why resistance will increase quietly. Not as attacks, but as distractions. Invitations to return to comfort. Opportunities that look good but feel slightly off. Relationships that resurface conveniently. Michael warns you not to confuse familiarity with alignment. Familiarity feels safe. Alignment feels clean. Clean does not mean easy. Clean means unobstructed. You are now accountable for your internal environment. External chaos will no longer be your excuse. If disorder appears, it will be because something inside you tolerated it. This is not condemnation. This is responsibility being transferred. Michael says something that few are told: authority grows heavier before it feels lighter. The weight you feel now is the transfer. Once integrated, movement becomes smooth again, but stronger. You will begin noticing that silence affects you differently. Silence will no longer feel empty. It will feel instructive. Instructions will arrive without words. Direction will arrive without urgency. Learn to respect that calm. Calm is where precision SPE.